Okay, go ahead and click it.
You good?
Hey, I think so. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another super exciting episode of Fast Charge with B&B. I am Brian. Oh,
Oh,
I get no, no. Okay, yeah. I didn't hear you.
no.
That was weird.
Oh, you didn't hear me? Yeah,
No, I
I'm
didn't hear you.
Bear.
He is not. He is a clever replica. AI would not be so cruel. So, I don't know.
This is what the AI generated this morning.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
yeah.
have no other AI faces to wear.
And too many fingers. Have you seen those? They're terrifying. I'm not even on the right page. That's funny.
No, I got 10.
So yeah, I think we've got a lot of stories. We should probably kinda.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff, some news for you guys. Different things, some interesting, some not. We just threw it in there for filler. Not that we need any filler today, but we got a lot. So the first thing is a new word has been created,
What's
and
the new word?
the new word is brain lifts.
Hmm.
Volvo wants to do brain lifts on their cars instead of facelifts. Facelifts being like a redesign of the car to make it more interesting to buyers. They want to do brain lifts, so they're doing updates and upgrades, changing features on your software in your car. And I find that very ironic because I don't know how familiar you are with Volvo.
Not
Uh,
terribly.
yeah, not terrible either, but I've got a Polestar, which is a Volvo child, and apparently the software that's used in a Polestar is very similar to what's used in a Volvo. And I just found that out recently. My father has a Volvo, and I was like, oh, this is very similar. And you know what? If I had to use 2 words to describe it, it sucks. Uh, it's very basic. It's a very no frills type of software, and there's not much to it. There's nothing pretty about it. It's like black and white, scroll bars, things like that. Very, very boring. So if there is something that Volvo could do, it would be to give their software a brain lift.
Now,
Because,
will that be a paid feature or?
well, not mentioned whether it's paid or not. I mean, I like
I,
the whole idea of brain lifts and the whole concept of making your software better as you go along. Uh, but there really needs to be better. They need to have something better to start off with. No, the article says that they are not going to skin their customers for $1 for a small feature.
See, I'm just deeply disappointed because that headline to me says Brian lifts, and that I would pay for.
Wow, I could lift you, but I'm not sure why I would.
Yeah, it does seem a little unnecessary.
Well, it could be. You never know. Once you have a couple beers, anything's necessary.
Ah, did you hear about the Subaru Solterra?
Yeah. Um, s- so is this like a Buzzforks clone?
It exactly is a Buzzforks
Yeah.
clone.
So it makes me wonder why the wheels weren't falling off on the Subarus, but they were on the Buzzforks. But apparently they were.
I'm guessing. My thought was that John only works on Tuesdays when they're making the Buzzforks and not on Thursdays when they make the Solterra. It's
Ah,
still got the same silly, stupid fender design. I I wish they would finish it.
yeah. It's funny because I'm looking at the first picture and it that plastic thing flows into the cover for the electric port. So does that mean that's half plastic too?
I guess so.
Yeah, pretty
Very
awful.
fun. Pretty awful. That's enough of that.
Yeah,
Do
but
you know that?
since we're still on
Yeah,
Toyota, right?
yeah.
And did
Yes,
you
we are.
know that
No.
Toyota is finally admitting that the timing is right for EV first mindset, which is only happening because the old guy is retiring and someone else is taking over. A name that Koji Sato.
Mm,
That wasn't a hard one.
that wasn't
Uh,
bad.
Yeah, he's taking over on April 1st, and he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, we've got to join the rest of the world on this whole electrification." And they're going
And
to
if
be.
whatever announcement they make is terrible, they can be like, "Ha, April Fools,
That's
change."
true. That is true. Maybe
And
they
then of
don't have
course
April Fools there though. It's Japan. They may
no,
not
no,
have that.
I assume not. And then of course a picture of the Buzz Forks that looks, yes, identical to the Solterra. Boy, it sure is the same damn car. Look
Yeah,
at
that's
that.
not a bad color though, but
No, it's fine,
except for the
but
black color on it.
finish painting it. Pretty
Yeah,
please. Please and thank you with the cherry on top.
they're
Paint your
saving
car.
tens of dollars per car on not painting that section.
Their goal is only a couple million by the end of the decade. That's not good. Unless you start counting all their hybrids, but yeah,
That doesn't count.
it well, I'm sure somebody will write an article about that someday and we'll discuss it when we find it. But
Okay,
do
you
they
should
have
write that article.
does Toyota have anything promising going on?
Well, it looks like the new CEO says the next gen EV will be a Lexus. So they're going to start on the higher end, as many manufacturers are doing. And they're going to release this by 2026. So they're still a little bit off. I might have a Hummer before then. So
Well,
three
good for
years to get.
you.
Huh?
What color? What color are you getting?
White. Hey,
Oh wow.
did you see the Hummer in the Super Bowl commercial?
I did not.
Guess what
I did
color it
not.
was?
Please tell me it wasn't white.
Can't. It was a
You
white
can't
Hummer.
even CGI it. Come on, you people. Well, we don't want to get people's hopes up. So I think
Well,
this is a fine approach for Lexus. I think this will serve them reasonably well.
yeah, I'm just still surprised that they weren't working on something in the background where they could jumpstart this a little bit sooner than 2026.
As the pioneers in hybrids, I can't believe, yeah, that they weren't right at the forefront of electrification. They should have been, but they
I, I
weren't.
don't, I don't think Toyota is as perfect as they used to like to think they were.
Well, if you'd have told me 5 years ago that Toyota would be in the position it's in now, I would not have believed you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed me either if I said that 5 years ago. I mean, I bought a Toyota Corolla about 2 weeks ago, and I can't get the app to connect to the car.
Oh
And
my gosh.
Toyota doesn't know why yet. And
Oh,
I've spent a good hour on the phone and spoken to four different people. I had one guy tell me that I didn't even have a real VIN number. He said, "Nope, all our cars start with a J. Yours starts with a 7. You're calling the wrong place." I'm like, "No, I'm calling Toyota." And this I've already spoken to someone. They said, "Yeah, they're working on it," and I haven't heard back. Why are you? He goes, "No, I'll call this number." I'm like, "Wow." Even at Toyota, they'll just blow people off the phone just to get them off.
a lot
So,
of things that EV makers are criticized for, the big dogs get a pass on.
hmm
And it's very confusing to me. It's almost as if it's coordinated.
ooh, could it be?
Any other Super Bowl stuff you saw that was interesting? I heard, you remember last March, they teased us with a render of that upcoming Dodge Ram pickup. Did you see that
Yeah,
render?
yeah. That render looked really kind of
So
cool
slick.
for what they were
Oh,
showing.
yeah. Well, you saw the concept. They actually
Yes.
built one. I mean, I it moved onto the stage, I believe, on its own power. It had to. That's a getting it up that ramp without. I mean, that's a driving vehicle. It looks good.
Didn't Doug DeMuro do a video on this one?
I believe he did.
And he
I believe
wasn't,
he
but he
did.
said he couldn't drive it,
Right.
which I think we now know why.
Why is that?
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, this is not the pickup you were looking for. Hey, I know I showed you a really slick render and a really cool concept. Can I interest you in a plain old truck that's got some batteries in it?
As long as it's really, really, really plain and
How do
kind
you
of
feel
looks
about heavy?
heavy's good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's if you like a plain old truck, this is it. This is absolutely it. Cyber Mike, who I've met actually. We shouldn't be surprised. Ram showed a concept that they couldn't build. The 18-foot tunnel isn't happening. No extended bed. This will be a standard Ram 1500 turned EV. What a disappointment at Stellantis.
From this angle, it looks like a 2004 Ford F-150. That's what I see.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I
it
can see
doesn't.
that.
It might actually be 20 years behind when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff points out no more suicide doors, and also the concept didn't have a B pillar. So
That's right, because they had the suicide doors, and
Yeah.
yeah. What a total, I don't know.
it's just
It's a
disappointing.
it's a bag of shit.
I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
Well, I don't get angry that easy, so I'm going to say, yeah, I'm definitely disappointed, but also frustrated. It's just that, you know what? Another car maker can go like, hey, we'll build it, and they'll sell millions, because that is actually, it's like the Cybertruck in the sense that it went finally off of the typical pickup design, because pickups are hard to design to make them sexy and nice, because all you have to work with is the front end, is the grille and the front bumper, because the rest of it kind of has to be the same, unless, of course, you go ahead and make picture number one.
So the first one, I like it because it looks like he's wearing MC Hammer pants with those big thighs.
I don't know what we're looking at now.
The top picture of the Ram there, the bed looks like baggy pants.
Oh, yeah, I didn't totally get your joke. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Next time I'll put my hand up and try and catch it. Yeah, okay. I guess I see it looks like it has big hips, like it's almost a dually.
Yeah. Ram should come out with a smaller truck, like a midsize.
Oh, that would be a great idea. But when would that happen?
Ram will show dealers a midsize electric pickup truck next month. Will they? Or will they show them a photograph that they purchased on Fiverr?
Of something that they'll never build.
And then instead just give you, I can't think of something more, a Dodge Neon with the back chopped off.
Oh.
No,
Oh.
let's do the, no, if we're going to go Dodge, we're going to say it's the new Dart. That car is so boring that in the commercials for it, they wouldn't show the car. They would only show the drawings of the car and then like a blur.
And the car was a nothing burger. It was not a good car. There was nothing exciting about it whatsoever. It really diminished the Dart name. Like, they rejuvenated Challenger and Charger, and they brought that back from the dead and turned it into something successful. And then they take the Dart and they just kind of crapped all over the name. So anyway, this midsize concept is going to replace the Dakota, which they haven't made since 2011. And the Dakota was a decent little truck. Ram's been without a midsize truck for 13 years now, 12, 13 years. So,
Wow.
yeah, they probably do need something.
Huh. Okay. I did not know that. Uh-huh. Anybody else starting to wake up?
Ferrari is saying that Tesla gave the entire industry a wake-up call with its quick and fast cars and how it is able to change on the fly instead of every production year for every tiny little change. They've just been able to change the industry a lot. And this is obviously a good thing. I think no matter how much you hate Tesla or love Tesla, you've got to admit that Tesla has changed the auto industry by changing how things are done and not just sticking to the standards that have been in place for 100 years. Like, we're not going to release new paint colors until a model year. We're not going to change a software or a feature inside the vehicle until a model year. Everything was based on model year changes and changing the line, but Tesla's been able to figure out how to do it on the fly. Castings, big thing. Now more and more car manufacturers are starting to go, all right, it's a good idea. We're going to do it.
Well, you've
But
got
it's
this
hard.
dumb little problem on your 2022, and you know you need to fix it, but you're going to keep selling cars with this dumb little problem because it's not a model year yet? That's crazy. That's bonkers.
Yeah, of course it is. But Tesla's definitely upended the industry. At first, when I first heard of Tesla, I didn't think that they were going to survive because all the other car companies have been successful at killing off anyone who tried for the past, I don't know, who knows how long. Lots of years. I mean, you remember the Tucker? Well, you don't
Yeah,
remember the Tucker. You remember the movie Tucker.
yeah. Well, and no car maker had survived for a very long time. I'm going to adjust my volume a little bit. I've got to get it into advanced properties here because I'm kind of quiet. There we go. That's better. So we're talking about this today in the car, me and the boys, and we're saying how since 2012 we heard any day now the big guys are going to just flip a switch and they're going to destroy Tesla. They're going to outcompete. They're going to be cheaper. They're going to be better. They're going to be faster. They're going to have a longer range. They're going to be everything that Tesla just can't because you can't do it. And now we see problem after problem. We see delay after delay. I was looking for an article from 2012 where GM was saying in a few years we're going to have like 10 different EV models. And I didn't find it, but you know what I did find was an article from 3 years ago saying that they would have 10 models in 2 years.
Yeah.
How many GM EVs do we have now? The
Uh,
hot selling Hummer, the Bolt that doesn't really sell itself, and 7 Cadillac Lyrics.
Okay, so if you were to say how many have produced with a production rate of more than 1,000 a year, you'd be down to one. You'd be down to the Bolt, unless of course you want to say the Bolt EV and the Bolt EUV are two different cars.
I
Technically,
honestly would. I
yeah,
mean,
all
they're
right,
different form factors, aren't they? They're as different
yeah,
as the 3 and Y. Doesn't
yeah.
matter.
I guess you could say that. So I would say that GM has two.
Yeah.
Uh, isn't the bright side? It was a bright drop.
Oh, yeah,
Wasn't
that's
that?
right. Is that a
But
wholly owned subsidiary?
Uh,
Anyway.
I I don't know. I don't know. But you'd really have to reach, and I think that you'd be bordering on whether or not you're being truthful or
Yeah.
stretching the truth.
Mark points out a pickup truck crashed into a body shop. They never mentioned that it was a Toyota. If it was a Tesla, they would have said a Tesla crashed into a body shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'd be an investigation as to whether or not self driving was to blame.
Yes, of course there would be.
Yeah.
There was
There,
there was a photo. I think it was last week or something. Of someone had crashed their Model S into the back of a pickup truck, and it turned out the guy did it intentionally. But it's all over Twitter. And the guy literally pancaked the car. The car was flattened. He killed himself. Um, and then, there's thousands and thousands of comments on these pictures, and saying that it was full self-driving, that uh, these Tesla cars are killing people all over the place. So one, it turned out it was like a 2013 Model S, so it didn't have full self-driving capability of any type, and that the guy had intentionally killed himself. So it wouldn't matter what you're in. Um, if he was driving a hot dog stand and he drove it off a cliff, it's not the hot dog stand's fault. I don't think.
an Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Oh yeah,
I made a joke about one of those in the show, and I was like, I've seen one. Let's see if I. And sure enough, I was able to find the picture of me in front of the wiener.
giant wiener coming up behind you, huh?
Yeah, there was a
Speaking,
joke about that in your chat.
yeah, there is. It was related to the Hummers, and I was just waiting to get that to that one. 4Q says, "Are black Hummers too big?" And then he said, "Sorry, I'll see myself out." So,
They certainly look bigger. Uh, I. You got to admit though, Ferrari does make beautiful cars,
oh yeah, oh yeah, and
and if you
they
don't
are.
mind a $5,000 tune-up, the maintenance is great.
Yeah, yeah, that is insane. By the way, the cost to maintain these high-end cars like that, which you know how much it costs to change the spark plugs in a Tesla.
No, I've talked to many Tesla owners, and they say that Teslas are so hard to work on they can't even find them. So that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, people
No,
won't
there
even bring
are
them in.
there are so many people on social media who are immediately so ready to say that how dangerous self-driving is and how it's always self-driving's fault, and it's always not. It's always, if it's apart from cases of attempted suicide, it's pedal misapplication, and that happens in all cars.
Well, there are still issues, and I will be honest and say there still are some issues out there. I have had the Model Y, randomly slow down on a freeway that was empty.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ghost braking thing, and I don't know why it would do it. There's nothing that I could tell, and it's things like that that make you realize you still got to keep your eyes on the road, because when it happens, you just don't know why it happens. I've got the Mach-E I was driving this week, and I had the cruise control set at 65, and the Blue Cruise was going, and then it would randomly go, oh, I think I want you to drive 70 miles per hour. And it was increasing the speed. That was odd. It's just different things like that. But it's
So
part of the learning curve, and the only way to get these real world miles are not in test environments. They are out on the road, and as long as you're paying attention, you're gonna be fine.
so Jeff gave me an opportunity to stress test FSD beta in his old Model X. And so we took it up a windy, narrow, hilly road that you would best describe as a driveway. I mean, it really felt like a driveway with people parking along the sides of it. And it struggled. It absolutely tried to kill us twice. And I made a video about it. The difference between me and the critics is I can admit the truth, and they can't. The truth is that it works almost all the time, and you have to find very exceptional circumstances where you can guarantee it will fail. And those do exist. So, and I have seen phantom braking also on the newer, we're on the highway, so that would have been not the FSD stack. But, yeah. Anyway, I think we spent quite enough time on that.
Yeah, you know what? Before we go, I just want to make two more things. Me and you were driving in my Model Y, and we were coming to a merge. I still think the autopilot has some work to do on the merges when the lane becomes wide.
Oh,
Because the car
we drifted. We drifted.
We drifted, and it was almost like, "Where are you taking me?" And that was a little,
Do you
unnerving.
want to take the exit?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe
It
it knows something we don't.
There's also a road in Arizona, Salt River Canyon, and it is a road that is on the side of a cliff, and it does back and forth until you get to the bottom of the canyon. So it goes down, 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 just doing these S turns, probably about good 5 to 8 of them, I think, on one side, and you drop down a few thousand feet, and then you get to the bottom of the canyon, you go over a small bridge over the creek, and then you go back up several thousand feet. And I took my Model Y on that, and I let it do the autopilot, driving like this, with my hands on the wheel, but letting it drive it. And that is scary, because you go off the side, and if you look off the side, you will actually see cars at the bottom. There are cars at the bottom of people who have not.
Yeah, that defy recovery.
Yeah, so they just leave them down there and maybe grab the bodies. I don't know. But my Model Y did it. It was able to do it, and this was just straight autopilot. It was a little scary, but it had no problems with it either. None.
I think the plan, by the way, with leaving the cars there is that over time, eventually it will fill the canyon to level, and then you can just drive across the remainders, the remnants, if you will.
Because they won't rust out here. They're just there.
Oh, yeah.
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 All right. Well, now you said something about moving on. Let's do that now.
Do you know that Ford was considering building a giant battery plant in Virginia, and their governor was not a fan of the idea for some reason, so they have decided on Michigan.
Uh, Funny, Michigan. They got a lot of roots there, don't they?
Oh, the U.S. auto industry? I don't know. I don't know if they're big in that in Motor City.
Why do they
But
call it Motor City?
I don't know. I know Chicago's called the Windy City because of the roads, I assume. I've only seen it written. I've never heard it out loud.
Yeah, and maybe you shouldn't. Um,
Don't say that there. Don't say that there.
yeah, maybe you should
Also,
go there.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
there and say that. Yeah, so they expect to bring in 2,500 jobs, $3.5 billion battery plant. That's a lot of money.
A
So
lot of
that's a
money.
lot of cheddar.
The
So
rumored project is part of Ford's efforts to comply with the strict rules set by the Inflation Reduction Act. Again, this is that legislation appearing to do the job. Jordan Giesecke of The Limiting Factor. I had a pretty lengthy Twitter discussion with him yesterday, asking some specific questions. And one of them that I asked him is, all these factories are going up. Does that mean that the mineral supplies are available? And he said, no, it does not. It does not guarantee it at all. We could have, in 5-10 years, 100 massive battery plants all running at 20% capacity. So, but there are a number of solutions. I've got a video I've finished writing last night. That was
I know one solution. One solution might be to stop production of the F-150 Lightning. That way you're not
well,
using those minerals.
why would they do that?
A potential battery issue, maybe?
Oh,
But
that's
one of
not
those,
ideal.
yeah, that's not ideal. But apparently that is a fact. So Ford has halted production and shipments of its F-150 Lightnings due to something that they will not tell us.
Well, it's just a potential battery issue. Again, these cars are hard to design properly, hard to make. It's hard to make them perfect. I do not expect them to have a core competency and a whole new platform that they've never worked on before. I'm just annoyed that all the critics for so long swore that this was going to be the easiest thing ever.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised that they haven't caught up and surpassed Tesla. Honestly, I thought it would happen
Yeah.
on day
Well,
one.
yeah. I didn't think. Well, when did you think that?
I
Like
was
a
drinking
year or two
last
ago?
week. I was drinking one day,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was high on coke, meth, and
I just.
heroin.
Wow, that's a combo. I just noticed that.
It's a cocktail, not a combo.
Yes. Yes, and people. By the way, people never die from polydrug overdose, so that's helpful. The
Good. I didn't even know what a overdose is. You see, couldn't happen to me.
I learned that phrase from Heath Ledger's death because
Oh,
he had multiple drugs interacting badly.
yeah. Didn't Michael Jackson have like a similar thing also?
But no, he had just one drug.
Oh, it was just one?
It was just I forget which one it was, but it was an anesthetic.
Was it the lightning thing?
No, no, no. It made him blue.
Ooh, the Smurf? Avatar?
Yeah, yeah. We're getting off the rails.
Do you think?
I think so. So I'm just I'm confident they'll iron this all out. I just hope it happens sooner than later. I'm a Tesla fan, but I don't tap dance on the graves of my enemies. I do tap dance though, just not on the graves of my enemies.
Okay. I was going to say, what kind of dancing would you do on the graves of your enemies?
I don't. My jig is not very good, so it would be.
I would like to see you do a jig.
Yeah.
But you're right, going off the rails. But going off the rails is Tesla, and their pricing structure is just off the rails. It's going on and off the rails. They're changing it all the time.
I
So,
disagree. I think it's pretty clever. The price increases are clever. They've created a fear of missing out. A lot of people saw the big price drop and said, "I'm going to wait for the next price drop," and it went up, and then it went up. Now, in the Model 3, it is still going down, which is interesting. You're going to get a pretty good price on some Model 3s, depending
yeah,
on
standard
what's.
range.
Well, yes, standard range. If you're in Oregon, this car is now what is it, 30,490?
Wow.
It's
You got
something like that.
state incentives?
State incentives on top of the federal, and Oregon has no sales tax,
Wow.
which is another, what, 3 to 4 grand right there.
So
It's,
a Model 3 standard range, what's it, about 250 miles,
I
give or take?
don't know. I don't know.
I think
No,
it's,
isn't that right here? It says 272. Is this not the standard range?
are you are you pooping on me there? It's 272?
It says 272 and 42,990.
Wow. Okay, so to put this into context, the Polestar 2 starts off at about, I think it's around 50.
Okay.
The Hyundai Ioniq, I think it starts at like 47. Those are base 250 mile range cars. 250. And now they're 10 to $20,000 more. And I would take a Model 3 all day long over an Ioniq or a Polestar. And I'm not just saying this. I got real world experience. I own those cars, and I would take a 3 over them any day of the week, any day, and save the $10,000.
And say, so you're saying prices being equal, you'd still take the 3, but the 3 is now significantly cheaper.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, remind me, what is the stated range on your Mach-E, and what are you getting?
I believe the stated range is 250-ish, and I've never had it charged to more than 234, but that was a fluke because it typically charges to about 220 at 100%.
At 100%. And ideally, you should be at what, 80, 90%?
Ideally, but they also say there's 10% of the battery is not being used for you to do that. There is nothing on that car, on the dashboard that lets you set
Charge limit.
your charge limit. It's on the app, and you have to set it for every charging station that you go to. You would set the limit there. But they still have the best scheduled charging set up. 1,000 times better than Tesla or any of the other ones, because you could literally pick your times. You can pick your charger and go, I don't want to charge between 5 and 9 a.m. and 5 and 9 p.m. on Monday through Friday. Other times charge. Those are my peak times right now. So if I charge during those times, I get hit with demand fees. So I can, on the Mach-E, it's the only one. It seems so simple to set up a schedule with multiple times, but the Teslas don't do it. The Polestar has a schedule, but it's for every day. The Hyundai, it's a little, I'm going to call it flaky at best. And the Tesla one is horrible because I can't figure out what departure time is.
So what I would say, I hope Tesla gets around to doing is they've got auto bidder software they use on the stationary storage side that allows you to decide at what price you wish to charge your battery and at what price you're willing to sell back the power. The cars should have that too. If you've got time of use pricing, it would be great if you said, you know what, I'm not going to drive much this week, but if the power gets under 7 cents, go ahead and put me up to 80. Just leave it plugged in and sitting. And that's something I hope is coming, because if not, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah, that is one of the things that I'm going to say Tesla is far behind other companies, and they shouldn't be because they are a software company.
Yeah, that's where their competency should absolutely lie.
Yeah. Speaking of which, another thing that they need to work on is figuring out how to get their superchargers open to all EVs. At least that's what the Biden administration wants them to do. And I think they're in the process of doing that. They're testing it out in Europe and in other places. I'm wondering if maybe like an adapter that you could buy and you register it, like you connect to it by Bluetooth, you put in your car's information or your account information.
So I don't know. I thought they've already got this solved. So the first thing with it is,
so why isn't it happening?
because it's not on existing chargers, it's on new chargers. The money is not for existing charger retrofit. It's for construction of additional chargers. And so the solution is this little magic port that, you know where you hang up your handle?
Mm-hmm.
If you pull up to this one and say, I'm charging at 20, and it says, oh, I see you need CCS, the part that you just plugged the handle into comes out with it. That's the adapter. They call it a magic port, I think. Magic dock. It's not a magic jack. That's an old internet telephone.
I've got some things making noises that I need to get rid of.
Haha.
Sorry about that.
It's probably ghosts. Or
Yeah, I had to take
neighbor's
my
cat.
screen down for a second here. Oh boy. Bunch
Yeah,
of
so-
stuff just popped up that wasn't supposed to. All right. I've got to figure out how to get my screen back.
This is the fun part. David says the CCS plug, I assume he means the adapter thing, is brilliant. Yeah, because the part you clip into, it clips out and it is the adapter.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you could buy an adapter, a CCS to Tesla adapter from Tesla, where you register that adapter under an account.
Oh, I like that. So you buy the little port yourself.
Yeah, you
and
buy
it's
the
a
port
smart
because that way you
port.
can go to any car out there, and then it has your account information and it bills to that account. And when you go to a Tesla charger, you plug it in, and then you plug the Tesla charger into the back, and the Tesla charger goes, "Oh, I know who you are. You're Brian, and you own this car or this adapter. We're going to charge your account. Oh, here's your charge. Boom, boom, boom. You're getting charged, and now both getting charged. Your car's getting charged, and your credit card's getting charged. That's what I'm talking about."
Yeah. Yeah. Another point that was brought up. Other problem is the length of cable, so to speak. Other cars, ports are too far away or placed inconsistently for use with a supercharger. Yeah. If it's on the wrong side or in the front, in the middle, or the back, I mean, yeah.
Well,
You could have
when
a
you
problem.
buy the little device that I invented, you can order an extension cord that comes with it.
Yeah, I think the extension cord is the owner's responsibility. But either way, just having all of these cars, having half of the cars out there able to use new superchargers will free up the one open spot at Electrify America that works.
But the problem is starting these new charging stations or expanding them or building new ones, it takes a lot of time. The money obviously would be funded by the government, of course,
In part.
but it still takes a lot of time to do it. And if you were Tesla and the government said, "Oh, we're going to give you X amount of dollars, put another charging station right next to the charging station you have," or do you just expand it out and go, "Well, these 4 are going to work for the CCS, and these other 40 are going to work for the Teslas"?
Yeah, I don't know. As I understand, they have to be new stations that have the ability to charge both. And my question is, hey, does that mean Electrify America has to include the Tesla port as well? Because you know it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, funny how that works. And Zip Zero Zilch happens to say the Class 8 still won't fit at these
for sure.
charging. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely correct. Even if you've got one down at the end, yeah, it's not going to be effective.
Well, they need drive-through ones for trailers, but not necessarily ones for Class 8 trucks, because the Class 8 with, let's say, a Nikola or a Tesla Semi, both are going to be sitting around the 700-800 kilowatt range. That's going to take a long time. You're going to be clogging up that station.
Yeah.
You know, what if you get Chris Christopherson and Convoy coming around, and they all pull in their trucks, and they got the duck.
Yeah, that was a whole trend of trucker movies.
Yeah.
You know who sang Eastbound and Down was the truck driver from Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was in, I want to say, the third one as the star, and that didn't go well.
There was a third one?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
But that must have sucked, because I didn't hear about it. But talking about things that suck and is not related to a black Hummer.
Oh, my gentle lord in heaven above.
That's 4Q's fault. He brought it up.
He
Plug-in
brought up,
hybrids, they still suck. Everybody knows it. Now there's a test that
yeah,
says that they suck.
the emissions are 3 times higher than official tests show. Real-world tests of plug-in hybrids suggest that official lab tests could be dramatically understating emissions. Why?
And is that because they imagine people actually plugging them in?
You know, so, yeah, I don't know. They're just terrible.
Yeah, and I'm still going to say that the one plug-in hybrid I have, we still don't plug it in on a regular basis, if ever. And still, I was looking today, on the trip meter, it was sitting at about, for like the last 5,000 miles, about a third of the miles were done on electric and 2/3 were on the gas engine. And it doesn't get plugged in.
And does it have regenerative braking?
Yeah. Well, not so much. No, not regen braking where you take your foot off, but when you do brake, it does regen the battery.
That's what I mean. Is it does
Yeah.
it does capture some juice that way.
It does.
Super. So what it's Ika is saying is startup and stop on the engine are smoggy transactions, as it were, and the constant start and stop results in higher emissions.
Yeah, but at the same time, every car, if you go to a red light these days and you have your windows open, you're going to hear
You hear
every car start up at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really annoying in stop and go traffic, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be very annoying. There's a lot of circumstances where you're like, I don't need you to be doing this right now. I'm trying to park the car, and it will do it.
Well, and it's not like you've got instant response. There is a lag.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lag.
When I was in Texas, I rented a car, and it was like, hey, for $4 more, we'll upgrade you 2 classes. I'm like, that's a pretty good deal. I'll do a midsize or, a nice sedan. Nah, it was a trick. All they had was pickups. I'm like, I really don't want, nope, you get a pickup. Pickup's what you get or you don't get a car. I'm like, why'd you charge me for the son of a... So I was at a stoplight and a combination tractor trailer dirt truck, a tandem, started rolling back at me. And I'm like, so I just lay on the horn and hope that 80 feet away he can hear me. And he did finally. So that, because I'm like, in a rental, out of town? Oh, God, this is going to suck. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, we're still on things that suck. And apparently there is actual data saying that there are places in this country, the United States of America, with a K, where people are paying more to fill up their EVs than they are for filling up gas. Because the price of the kilowatt per hour has gone up to an insane amount. 44 cents per kilowatt?
Wow.
That's equivalent to Electrify America. And
44 cents is that at home or at a
no, that's at
retail
home. That is at a home. Yeah, one Massachusetts resident said their power company, National Grid, jacked up a local electricity prices to 44 cents per kilowatt. That's 3 times the national average.
Wow.
And that brings it to the level where people are comparing charging at Electrify America to a gas station. And that's when the numbers start to not look right. But that's an insane amount of money, 44 cents per kilowatt. I don't know what is going on there in Massachusetts. You know what I'm paying, right? Because I have a solar plan. And it's not for the solar. But because I got a solar plan, the electric company says you're going to pay less. And that's why I have a demand fee. But I paid between 3.5 cents to 5 cents a kilowatt.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah. So
I'm pretty proud of mine. Mine is under, I want to say 8-9 cents, but it still ends up being a bit pricey on account of our...
I was thinking about putting superchargers out in front of my house and charging for it.
Yeah.
Because I could charge 20 cents and make a profit.
If it was legal, by all means.
It's not.
Well, there you go. I've got, as you know, the best insulation in my house. So that's why my power bills are so high. Because as you all know, the best insulation is no
There's
insulation.
no insulation.
It was affordable at the time, I guess. It was a cost-effective option. It's a mill town, so all these old houses were heated with sawdust. For real.
Nice.
For real. And you just buy bags of it down at the store before they knew how to use it in particle board. John wanted to know if it was a Hertz rental. It was not. I think it was Enterprise. Yeah, it was Enterprise. Yeah. So, yeah, that's crazy. One of the problems they have in New England is a lack of hydro. Because there are not mountains there. So the hydro they get, I think they have to buy from Canada, maybe? I'm not sure. But
Do
if
they
anyone
really
knows,
do they really buy it from Niagara Falls side, the Canadian side of the Niagara Falls?
I believe, I don't know. I believe so. I don't know. Somebody
That'd be kind of embarrassing.
yeah.
All right. Well, problems like this need to be solved because when you have the EU confirming that they are going to ban petrol and diesel cars by 2035, they need to get people on board because I personally don't feel like they need to be banning these cars. I think if electric cars are better, I mean, I feel like they are, don't you, Brian?
Absolutely.
If they're better, they're eventually going to win out and let people have the choice because more about that, people making choices on what they can buy and what they can't buy. But now you're forcing people into a situation where if the electric rates are at 44 cents a kilowatt and there's going to be no gas cars to buy, that is, in my opinion, not the right way to go about this. But they need to do something about fixing this, at least in Massachusetts, because people are not going to adopt EVs if you're going to be charging Electrify. What do you think Electrify America charges out there?
I can't imagine it's more than that, just because that is like the peak rate, and I imagine they average it out, and they probably aren't paying residential rates; they're probably paying commercial rates. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I hope they don't have demand fees either. That would really be awful.
I don't think they're immune to them. But it's a patchwork quilt all across the country. So who knows?
Yes. All right. So how are we doing? Oh, we're sucking on time. Look at that.
We're doing great. So
okay, you think we're doing great? Okay, I'll slow down.
Yeah. No,
I'll
don't
stall.
do that. So lithium has been found in India in tremendous quantity, 5.9 million tons. I want to say before they had something like 16,000 tons or 1,600 tons.
That's not a lot.
It was a very small amount, and the grade 220 parts per million is good. It's a 500 parts per million as opposed to the average of 220, meaning it's higher quality than usual. Lithium is something we're still discovering all over the place, in part because it's plentiful, but also in part because nobody's really been looking for it in a lot of countries. They look for gold and silver and nickel and precious metals. They look for oil and gas and coal. But lithium in low concentration is just dirt and rocks and sand. It's not something that was highly prized or valuable until recently. So now that we're back out looking, we're finding it.
Yeah, so maybe we don't. Maybe we'll find some other things also while we're doing, like cobalt and some of the other minerals that we have to get from limited places. You never know what we're going to find at this point.
Yeah, I definitely don't know. Did you know that it doesn't take many electric cars to improve public health? And that's public, Bear, not pubic health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I know that was going to be your first question.
I can't believe you went there. I never
What?
would have. I would never would have thought of that.
Oh, come on! I know you better than that.
No, I'm sorry. My electric cars are all groomed properly. They don't have any pubic health.
It makes sense that an electric car would lead to less air pollution than a car that burns gasoline. No engine, no combustion byproducts, carbon monoxide, sulfur, nitrogen oxides, and so on. But also there's not as much brake dust thanks to regenerative braking, which is important. I saw there was a study saying how there was the lead picture was a guy pressure washing a skyscraper in Manhattan, and it was black before, and when you washed it, you could see it was a beige brick. And people in the comments saying, this is why we need trains. Well, you remember Zach and Jesse went down into the London Tube with a air sensor and found that the PM 2.5 particles, the ones that are very, very small and nasty, are vastly higher in the train because of all the brake dust that there's no natural way to clean out down there. So there's a bunch of reasons why this is helpful, but every little bit helps, and apparently it doesn't take as much as we thought to get there.
I just learned a whole bunch of shit that I hope when I forget.
I'm here for you, man.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that may have twisted my... I might need a brain lift. Brain lift, it was the first thing that we talked about.
Call back. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
See, we've got 3 left in 9 minutes. We're doing great. Do you know there's a newly discovered chemical process rendering all existing wind turbine blades recyclable?
Before we go on, did we not do like an article on this where they were like making recyclable like into gummy bears or something?
I don't remember that. I definitely don't remember gummy bears.
I thought, yeah, I thought we had something like that. I don't know how many. So many episodes. So many good episodes.
So many wonderful episodes. Well, you got to figure at an hour a pop. This is number 68. This is quite a bit of time. And I don't know if he's here right now, but Samuel had committed to watching all the videos and getting caught up. So he just finished the main channel about a week ago, and now he started watching all of these. Which is...
Oh, well, he definitely is going to be the person to go to on recycled wind turbine blades. Is that really a big issue? I think I probably asked this question last time. Is there that many wind turbine blades out there that...
Not yet, but over time, sure. And if you can get something useful out of them, they're very big. So it'd be helpful to get more use. Yeah.
What are they made out of?
Oh, well, carbon fiber. I think that's what it was. Yeah, that's right. Ika says the one we covered before, fiber for reinforced concrete is what the story was then.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, because it's fiber's fiber. To which Fail Train says, "Yeah, sounds like a good way to have your concrete cause cancer." Which I don't work here, so I can't really tell you if that's a thing. Yeah.
Well, let's move on with recycling batteries now.
Yeah.
So the Nevada company who does battery recycling wins a $2 billion loan from the Energy Department. And hopefully this is a loan that will be paid back and not just, we forgive you, because that happens a lot also. That's a lot of money. So recycling batteries must be a big, big business, huh?
So it isn't a big business yet because the overwhelming majority of batteries are still in use. But like Elon had said, starting with a highly refined ore, like just a battery pack, is always going to be better than starting with a unrefined ore, as in soil. So it's better. And Redwood Materials was founded by J.B. Straubel, who you might recall as the former chief technology officer of Tesla.
I don't recall it, but I see it in the article. So, yeah. And there's a lot of different ways that these batteries can be recycled and repurposed, besides being broken down and turned into new packs. But we did we saw an article on it a couple weeks ago that one company, who was it? I don't remember. They made a cube, and they were recharging cars with a cube of recycled battery packs.
Oh, I don't know if we covered that. I do remember that. I have seen that.
Because we covered it.
Did we? That's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That might have been one of the articles you dozed off on.
I don't really watch the show. Uh, by the way, Jeff and I did go to Redwood Technologies when we were at Giga Nevada, but it was it was farther out of town than we expected, so it was dark when we got there. And I tried to shoot a remote, but I didn't really get any useful footage out of it. But it's something I could maybe use later. And it was so late I wasn't going to go knock on the door, even though the lights were on and people were still working, because I assume it's that kind of company. So it's pretty exciting.
That is very enthralling.
Do you know that new U.S. power generation, as of 2022, 74% of the new generation added was renewable?
That is a substantial amount. My question for you, what is the other 26%? Natural gas.
Yeah.
Natural gas, okay.
Almost, yeah. This year, we're going to see the Votel, I don't know how to pronounce it, the nuclear power plant come online in South Carolina, North Carolina. It will be the first nuclear power plant to come online in the U.S. in about 30 years. And the problem with it is, because there's a lot of really staunch advocates of nuclear power, the problem with it is, it was originally supposed to be 4 reactors. It's been scaled back to 2. It's 250% over budget and 6 years delayed. And guys, if you want people to buy your nuclear power plants, you can't do this. You have to. Investors won't invest in something that is going to be scaled back by 50%, arrive 6 years late, and doubly and a half over budget. It's not effective. You're not going to turn my heat on.
Yeah,
You're not going to make it.
I'm all for nuclear power, as long as the people in charge of it are very responsible with it, not like the Chernobyl issue. And I'm sorry, I got a lot of respect for the Japanese, but I still can't buy into putting a nuclear reactor on beachfront property. It doesn't seem to make any sense anytime
in
ever.
tsunami zone.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and there, 3 Mile Island happened because of poor engineering from the era, right? What about poor engineering from? What about Japan? Japan is a very right. Well, that was poor engineering from the guys. It only has to go wrong once to cause sentiment to shift in ways that are not acceptable. An exclusion zone has to be created around these places. That's not ideal, and I can appreciate that coal and natural gas have their concerns as well. My problem with nuclear isn't the waste. It isn't that I am worried it's going to blow up or that I don't want it in my neighborhood. My concern is the cost and how slow they are to build. We need solutions today. If you build a third of a solar plant and give up, guess what? You've got a third of a plant running. Same with wind. As long as if you plan to build 500 turbines and you only build 100, you still get the power. And that's not the case with nuclear. It's 100% or it's nothing.
Right.
Here in Washington, we had a program, this brilliant nuclear plant that they were going to build. And then partway through it, they found that they'd been forging inspections. So we didn't know if the welds were actually done or not. And the program was canceled. Now, funny enough, what was the acronym for that plant? Oh, I remember. Whoops. That was the actual acronym they used from day one. Whoops.
Was that WPPS?
I don't remember because I was a child.
I remember there used to be municipal bonds that were sold in the early 90s or late 80s, early 90s, and they had an incredibly high interest rate, and they were called Whoops.
WPPSS.
Yeah, okay, so it was that. They had crap loads of municipal bonds that were issued in the mid 80s at the really high interest rates.
Okay.
And they paid for it. they paid great, and then they all got called in. I just remember this back
And
from
then they didn't.
well, they got called in because they were refinancing them at lower rates. I don't know what ultimately happened with that. You said it collapsed. It didn't.
Oh well, the power plants had to be abandoned.
Wow.
Because the concrete's poured. We can't inspect the welds now. And now you could probably x-ray through it, but at the time there was no way to go back and inspect those welds. Tear it down. You can start over if you like. By the way, big thanks to Lockbert on both channels. A super chat on both sides. Thank you so much for that. He said on your side, Bear, you're the O'Brien of the show, and Brian, the Andy Richter. And on my side, he said, Brian, you're the Carson of the show, and Bear's the McMahon.
Oh.
That makes me the straight man both times. How about that?
I'm not sure if O'Brien is. I don't.
Conan O'Brien?
Oh, Conan O'Brien. Oh,
Yeah.
Did he spell that right?
Yep. I think so. I don't know. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well. Okay, as
Wonderful.
long as I'm the better looking one.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Ed McMahon is so handsome.
He got to sit next to all the ladies.
Yeah, but he also had to be Ed McMahon.
Yeah, he definitely was a sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. By the way, I have a scheduled. We have scheduled and soft announced the event for Investor Day, March 1st. Ours is the all ages one you can go to in Texas at noon at Southeast Metro Park. And it's fun because ours is the free speech one where everyone's welcome. And it's not a snowflake zone where only certain people are allowed. So it's a great show. And we're going to have fun. We're going to have pizza. We're going to have door prizes. But most importantly, it's all ages. It's pre-game and it's super close to Giga Texas, as opposed to other events which are more in town, in the cool part of town, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Sounds like a good time. I wish I could make it there, but I've got other obligations that require my body. Can't go into that. I don't want to make it too weird.
By the way, don't forget, everybody, tomorrow is the one-day event for the horror movie that's been anticipated for 100 years. Have you heard about this?
No.
The copyright expired on Winnie the Pooh. So there is a horror movie coming out tomorrow as a one-day event. We're thinking about going to catch it. It's called, and this isn't my stool sample, it's called Pooh, Blood and Honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But it looks very silly, very low budget, and wonderful.
Is the president of China in it?
Well, in spirit.
Well, because everyone says he kind of looks like Winnie.
Well, he does. And that's something, if I were him, man, lean into it.
Oh, yeah, I would totally ride that.
Yeah, and instead, straight to re-education. William says, ew, gross. Yeah. All right. We're over time,
so
man.
at this point, I want to thank my patrons. I want to thank my supporters, my viewers, and my mom for all of you guys for being here. I don't think my mom's plugged in, though.
Yeah. Jeff says, too much information about your stools, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, the blood's not part of it, but the honey was.
By the way, sir, you really should... I'm not a doctor. Take this to a doctor. Oh, really? You don't want... Okay. And why is there honey in it? For God's sake.
I don't know. That's why I'm here.
Why do you think I'm here? Good times. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks to my patrons. All that good stuff. Yeah. And we'll catch you next week for another great one. Let me double check my schedule. Yeah, I've got one more... Next Tuesday, I will be here. The following Tuesday, I'll be on the road, but it's the day before Investor Day, so I'll try and still make it. Or we can pre-tape it. Either way. Figure it out.
And for those of you that are wondering, we are planning on flying Nicola and Lucid tomorrow, as long as weather permits. It's been windy, a bit too windy here today, so we're going to try and get that done tomorrow. And cross your fingers, and maybe Lucid will have 3 cars in the parking lot, and Nicola will have 1 truck. And that would be amazing. because
right.
they'd be gone and sold, Brian.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Bear. Good to have.
All right.
Good to visit with you, and we'll talk.
See you later.
We'll talk in a second when we both hit end stream.
Yeah. Bye-bye.